What's up, Rainmakers? Hey, if you've been thinking about launching a book or something on Amazon, kids book, coloring book, or maybe you just are looking for an extra source of income, this episode's for you. We're going to talk through how we actually just launched our second children's book on Amazon and how you can do this too. If you want to generate some totally hands-off income for your family, this is definitely a podcast to listen to.
I feel like I talk to so many moms and parents and even grandparents that are like, oh man, I have this idea to write this kids book, or I've read all the kids books and there's nothing that specifically talks about that. And I want to say that I think it's actually easier than you might even be thinking. And so we just want to give you some quick inspiration on how we've gone about doing that, and how there's even some tools and resources that we can give you to get started on that process. Because wouldn't it be so cool, especially if you're a grandparent or even a mom, and you create this beautiful book about your family or some kind of core values, and then it becomes this almost legacy piece in your family. And so I'm just here to say, like, I'm all about dreaming. I'm all about thinking about like the possibilities, but wouldn't it be cool if you could take that possibility or that dream and actually make it a reality? So we want this episode to be something that you can take, grab a hold of right away and go take action on.
That's true. You could literally do this in a weekend. You could do this like if you had one deep work day you blocked off, you could probably get something done. And that's why I love this, because there's so many resources that people just don't know about. I remember we were at a conference and like there was a gal there. She was like a daughter of someone at the conference. She had launched a coloring book. Do you remember that? We bought it. It was like a coloring book. It's so easy, right? But you don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be super tech savvy.
I think she was like 12 or 13 as well, and she had figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
So.
And that was like, I think from me talking about it in front of the kids. At this conference, they brought in us to like speak to the kids of the entrepreneurs that were at the conference.
Yeah, it was really
And it was
cool.
like a year prior. I was like, guys, like, let me teach you this thing. And so we'll teach you on this podcast a little bit. If you want to go deeper, we have some resources, of course, on that. But this is literally one of those things I feel like you could figure out mostly on your own. Okay, so here we go. How to launch a book on Amazon. So let's, I guess, start with foundations of like some things you might be believing that might be holding you back. One, you don't need to be an author to do this. Okay. So you don't need to be like a novelist or have books written at this point. You do, great. That could help you, but you don't need to be. A lot of our community members that are making income in this strategy, they're launching what we call low content books. So these are books like journals, right? What does a journal have in it? Lines, right? And maybe a couple quotes. Productivity journals, right? We have Kim, who launched a ADHD planner, right? So it's a planner designed for people with ADHD, and she's crushing it with this thing, right? So that's what we call a low content book. You also have like coloring books. You have children's books, which have content, but definitely less content than writing an entire novel, right? You also have books like puzzle books or scissor skills books for toddlers, right? I remember we got Kai one of these books when he was little. He loved it. You get the little kid scissors and they try to cut the lines. Like this book is just a book of lines, and it's like just exercises to try with the scissors, right? There's handwriting books, cursive books. There's like, you know what I mean? Like these are things that are fairly easy to create. They don't take insane amount of time. They're lower content. However, there's a huge demand for them in the marketplace.
I think another thing I like about talking about these kind of low content books is that, especially if you've already launched a product or you have a community or some type of audience, even if you don't, like, just be thinking about like, how could I create something at a low barrier to entry like this? It doesn't cost you anything to do it, just maybe your time, and if you pay somebody to do some graphics or something, but you can launch it to that community and fill a need that they might be having, or just test and see like, hey, does my community, is my audience, the people and my customers who are already buying for me, is this something that they would benefit from? And so I just think it's a huge opportunity and a great way to add more value to your customers as it is.
I remember when we were in the wedding business, we launched a wedding guide and we actually white labeled this from another photographer. So you never heard of white labeling. It's like when someone else makes something, then you get to basically take that thing, put your own face and logo on it and call it your own. So it saves you tons of time. And it's actually something you can do in what we're telling you about on Amazon. There's actually things you can buy and things you can white label. So we will talk about that on this episode. But we did this. I forget how much we paid. Do you remember? Like $300 maybe for that?
Yeah, I think it was about
like
$300.
Template, and it was beautiful. And all you had to do is put in your own words and your own photos, and you're done. And it like had the whole structure. And this little magazine, we ended up printing them, and we'd buy like 30 copies a year. We'd give them to our brides, and it was such a value add. It had like everything they needed in there. And I'm just thinking back, I
They
wish,
were so impressed with it
oh, they're
too.
so
Like, wow,
impressed.
you
Like, oh my
created a
gosh.
magazine.
Right. But I think we were still thinking small. If only we knew about what we know now, I would have
Yeah.
put that thing on Amazon and
Yeah.
been like the ultimate wedding planner book. And like, that would have been an amazing advertisement for our business.
Yeah.
But two, like we probably could have been selling tons of these things on Amazon. I just share that story to share, like, it's easier than you think. You don't have
Yeah.
to do all the work.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, I guess, okay, go up from step from there. So that's the first thing. You don't need to be an author. This is easier than anything. The second thing is understanding how Amazon KDP works. Okay, KDP. So KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing. Okay. Most people listening, you probably know what a Kindle is. That's like the little e-reader. Well, Amazon has this thing called KDP, which is this program where you can upload digital books, and then Amazon will put them on Kindles for people, and Kindle users can buy them. But also Amazon, if people want a print copy, Amazon will actually print and ship that book to the customer. So think of this like print on demand. You know, you ever use those print on demand t-shirt sites where like you don't have to order 1,000 t-shirts. You can just upload a design.
Yeah.
When someone buys it, they print the t-shirt and ship it to the customer. Same thing with KDP, this program that Amazon runs. You can upload your digital coloring book, never order a single piece of inventory. And then when the customer goes and buys that coloring book, at that point, Amazon has a machine, takes your digital, file, prints the book, ships it to the customer, and boom, you make money. Okay. You make less money than if you were to buy 1,000 units of that book and get a discount. However, you take way less risk because you're literally just risking your time to create the book. You're not having to buy any inventory, and it could be very passive at that point, right? You just have this thing on Amazon, it's selling, you're making money off every sale, and you're not having to print, ship, or deal with any customer service.
So we talked about how creating a children's book or a journal might be a lot easier than you might be thinking. We've also shared with you how Amazon makes this work super easy, low barrier to entry. And now we're going to be talking about how you actually upload or get your ideas on Amazon. And you might be thinking like, do I need to know a bunch of Photoshop? Do I color a page and have to scan it? And it's a lot easier than you think. So Steven's going to break that down.
We have had students do that where they're like illustrators
true,
and they
yeah.
literally just like draw the whole book.
Yeah.
However, I just want to make it a little easier for you. So once you choose your format, let's say it's a journal, let's say it's a children's book, we'll kind of walk through some of these. How do you get the files, right? Like how do you get the files made? A lot of our students will design these books in Canva. Canva is just a free graphic design online service. And you can go in there, and if you're just a little tech savvy, like you don't need to be crazy tech savvy, you can just choose the book format in Canva. It'll get you like the right sizing. And then you can just start designing, right? Canva even has, like, if you were going to, let's say, do a coloring book, underneath the graphic section of Canva, they have like all this, like basically clip art that you can grab and just say like line drawing of dog, right? And you just like grab that, put it in the book, right? Make it really big. There's page number 1. That's a coloring book. If it's a journal, you might just do lines, right? And you could do it yourself. And so that's like the DIY method, is just using Canva and just figuring it out on there. However, there is another method, like I said, white labeling, right? In our program, we actually have 300 already ready digital designs already built in Canva. So when you come into our program, you just get those, and a lot of people will use those. However, you can find designs like this online as well. You can hire someone to build them for you, right? Like sometimes people go on Fiverr, right? We have a special hookup for Fiverr. It's rainmakerlinks.com/deals, and you can check it out there. But Fiverr is a site where you can hire people. So let's say you have a children's book idea and you even wrote the children's book, right? Maybe you wrote it yourself. Maybe you used ChatGPT. I remember on our first children's book, we just threw it in ChatGPT and it like made an amazing story. And then we said, hey, make it rhyme. And it made it rhyme. And we didn't end up going with that AI version, but it was so cool to see, like, in a day, in like 10 minutes using AI, ChatGPT, we generated a whole kid's book. And I do this for my kids too. I generate stories for them like every night on ChatGPT, and they're amazing stories, right? So just if you have a hard time writing it, but you have an idea, go to ChatGPT, give it the idea and say, write the story for me. And then go back and forth with it to make it better. Maybe make it rhyme, maybe make it shorter, maybe make it longer, maybe you add some elements to it. But first of all, like, you shouldn't have writer's block. Just get it done with ChatGPT. Then once you have it written, you need illustrations. Let's say it's a kid's book. You can go to Fiverr and hire someone to illustrate for you, right? So just search for Illustrator. You could also ask your friends, like you might post on Facebook, you might have an Illustrator friend who would do it and they've been really wanting to do something like that. It's really easy to start putting these pieces together to actually get the content. And then the last thing I'll mention is the white labeling piece. There is places where you can buy done for you content. There's a couple sites that some of our Rainmakers use. I'm going to list them off for you. Okay. So one is creativemarket.com. If you need to do you want to do a journal productivity thing, go to creativemarket.com, just search it. There's thousands of templates already designed for you. You can buy the rights to those designs. So you can use them, you can sell them, and you can also, edit them if you want. Okay. Boom, you're done. There's also already done for you like ebooks and things like that. So maybe you need content. There's sites like plrproducts.com. So that's PLR, private label rights is what that stands for. plrproducts.com. There's also one called the PLR store. Okay. These are sites where you can go and like, let's say you want to launch, maybe you see there's some opportunity on KDP with like dog training books, right? And you're not a dog training expert, but you go to plrproducts.com or the plrstore.com, search for dog training. You can find ebooks that are already totally written for you. You can take one of those ebooks, maybe hire someone on Fiverr to make a nice cover of that ebook. Boom, you have your thing ready to go to put on KDP and launch a product. Literally, you can do this within hours, if not days. Like it's not going to take you that long. If you're struggling on the tech side of things, maybe it takes you days, couple days. But like to launch a business in a couple days,
that's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. And most people just don't because they don't know that it's so easy.
We get asked all the time, what are your favorite books? So we put together a quick free download of the top 15 most influential books that helped us grow a 7-figure business by age 30.
The cool part about this list is they're actually sequential, from the ones we read at the very beginning to the ones that are impacting our lives right now. With the list, we also have the hookup for audible.com where you usually listen to the books on a walk or while doing the dishes. This is my favorite way to consume books. If you want the list, go to rainmakerfamily.com/deals. We also have a link to Audible there so you can listen to the books on the go. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
Yeah, so with creating something specifically on Amazon or Amazon KDP, there's kind of two ways that you can look at it. So the first category might be somebody who this is more of a passion project. You've been dreaming about creating almost like that legacy piece. You just have a desire in your heart to like create a book or a journal, or maybe it goes along with another project that you're working on. So that is one specific route. Like you might not have done tons of data as far as like, does the market really want what I have? And to you, it's like, it doesn't really matter if I make $10 or if I make $10,000 on this book. I just really want to do it. So there's one person that might be listening.
Let me talk about that for just a second, and then we'll hit the second person.
Yeah, go for it.
That's like our kids' books that we have launched. They are that category.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make thousands of dollars on these. We actually have them priced so we don't make really any money on them. It just pays for like the $1 ad that we run to get it in front of more people. However, like we really launched these books because we wanted to get entrepreneurial mindsets in our kids. So our first book is called The Rainmaker, How to Win When Life Gives You Rain. It's about the how can I mindset. Not saying I can't, but saying how can I. Story of these two boys, Kai and Ollie, which are our boys, right? Who hit this, obstacle in their life. It's raining outside, but they want to do a lemonade stand. They don't let that hold them back. They think, how can I? And they turn the rain into something good. It actually benefits them and the whole neighborhood. That was our first book. And we love reading this to our boys because one, they're in it. It's super fun. And it looks like them, the illustrations. It's this powerful, empowering story. And then the second book we just launched, you want to check it out. It's called The Color Collector. If you just search the Rainmaker family on Amazon, you'll find our books. But it's called The Color Collector. And it's all about focusing on what you have instead of what you have not. Again, these are like core beliefs that we have that have helped us benefit in life and thrive in life. It's like, why not get these into our kids in the form that they're going to receive in, which is right now children's books, picture books. And so we didn't see a lot of books that had these abundant mindsets and these positive entrepreneurial themes in the marketplace. And so, there could be a financial opportunity there, but mostly these are for our kids. These are for our friends' kids who want to have these mindset. These are for our Rainmaker community's kids. And so that's really why we did it. And like, we're not making millions off these books, but they are making impact. And so if you're in category one, awesome. Just go launch that thing that's in your heart.
Yeah. And if you're in category 2, where you're like, I want to make money off of this, I have a product that goes with it, and I'm really interested in not only the impact, but like I need to make some money. So there is a specific strategy on what to go after. And as far as keywords and what you go and launch. So Steven's going to kind of break that down. So pay attention if you're in that category,
Yeah.
like how do I actually know what is going to sell? Because
Yeah.
you can't just magically launch something, or even like the title of your book really matters. And so even as an example for you guys, is our first book that we launched, we didn't really pay attention to the title and would people actually be searching that. Our second title, hopefully more strangers and people that don't know us will be searching. So we have it a
Yeah.
little bit more optimized than we did our first book. So we've made
That's right. Yeah.
some changes too.
Yeah. Because the first book, we were just like, hey, we'll just
Let's
fund
just
this
do
thing.
this.
We'll pay for ads to get in front of
Yeah.
people. And we just want to get it done.
Yeah.
And that felt really good. The second book, we were like, why can't we have impact and a little bit of income?
Yeah.
And so even the title of our second book has some keywords in it that we know are being searched on Amazon. So let's just back it up to the Amazon strategy. You've heard us talk about this.
Yeah.
Amazon's like the world's largest grocery store. When people go to Amazon, they search for things. That's like them walking down aisles in that largest grocery store, right? So when you go search for books, sometimes they just search for like good books for 2-year-olds. And it's like a really broad search. Sometimes they go to Amazon searching for something really specific. Like I know, like when our kids, when we were about to have Ollie, we started searching for books like Big Brother books, right? Because we wanted to like warm them up to that idea. When we started doing potty training, we started searching for like potty training books for kids, right? And so we started getting books to help warm up the idea. Those are aisles on Amazon. And if you look at those aisles for these specific keyword searches and there's not a lot of great books or there's room in that marketplace, you can make a book about that topic. And so this is a deeper topic. If you are in that camp where you're like, I want to make money on Amazon using this strategy, I would recommend getting some training and resources on this because we can only do so much in a podcast. But that's like the general idea is you're going to need to learn to do keyword research and figure out what's being searched on Amazon that there's not great options for or that you can compete for. There's also like all the strategy around categories. Cause like when you launch your book, you have to choose what category it's in, and what category you choose really matters because it kind of determines who Amazon shows the book to.
Yeah.
And if you choose a category that's really competitive, you'll never be seen. But if you choose a category that you can win in, basically you can become #1 bestseller in that category. And then it starts driving more sales. So there's a whole strategy to it. And I would recommend getting some training, and I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we have a training on this. And it's actually not even created by us. So we had a gal come into our community. We've done a podcast with her. Her name is Camden. She's an artist. She's actually the one who's illustrated all of our books. And she was really into this KDP thing. We're like, man, this is so cool. Can you teach it? And so she started teaching our community this. She made a course. It had a lot of impact. And then she even made a second course, and she's about to make her third version of this course. And so we wanted to do a podcast around this to let you know that that's coming out. If you want to grab her second version, it's amazing too. And there's a special price on it right now as well. So we created a link just for this podcast. It's rainmakerlinks.com/KDP. Okay. So rainmakerlinks.com/KDP. That'll get you a full hour training video with her, kind of going more in depth on the method. And on that page, you'll see if you want to get access to this course, how you can get it. And that'll just happen in our Rainmaker training portal. And she's got the full training on like the nuances of how to find keywords that you can look for books in. Because sometimes like you actually make the book for the market. And that's what I recommend. If you want to make income off of this, yeah, you have maybe that idea, but cater it towards the market. That's what we do with our second book is like, we want to teach this mindset, but we're going to do it in the frame of colors, right? And because we know the marketplace is looking for like learning color books for kids. And so we're still making the impact, still building the books and saying the things we want to say, but we're doing it for a keyword that we know is being searched.
So Steve and I want to create this episode specifically talking about KDP, one, because our new kids book just launched, and we would love your support if that sounds like something your kids or your family or somebody you know would benefit from. Or we just want to share the method and how KDP actually works. Because I feel like I talk to so many people that have it on their hearts and their minds to create something, to create a book, a journal, that legacy piece, or maybe they want to make some extra money that goes along with their audience and how they can serve them. So what whatever category that you are in, I just want to encourage you to go take action. Even this weekend, after you listen to this podcast, like book a time to go deep on this, whether you choose to purchase the course, to purchase our book, or just look more into, hey, how could I make this reality? Because there's a lot of people that dream about things, and I love dreaming. Steve and I dream all the time about creating new products and innovating, but there's very few people that go and take action. And this podcast is about taking action. And if there are any links or anything that you want to look into, those are all going to be in the show notes, including the KDP course that we have inside of our Rainmaker app, as well as our new book that is out on Amazon. So thanks for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. We'll see you all next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmaker is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.